Greetings everybody, I'm AlexSkovron and I'm welcoming you to this special evening, an evening of music and poetry. We are privileged to have with us from New York two American artists on their very first Australian visit. Soprano Helene Williams and composer, conductor, pianist Leonard Lehrman. Let me tell you a little about them. Helene Williams co-founded the Bronx Opera Company and has performed in all genres across the US, Latin America and Europe, including Amsterdam, Paris, Düsseldorf, Berlin, Bayreuth and Dresden. She has appeared with numerous opera companies, from New York Lyric to the Center for Contemporary Opera, on radio, television and film, and at universities and civic centers across Europe and both North and South America. Together with Leonard Lehrman, she has premiered close to 100 works by dozens of composers. She studies with Cornelius Reed and teaches at Queensborough Community College. Leonard Lehrman is the composer of operas, musicals, cantatas, and more than 130 other works that have been heard throughout North America, Europe, Israel, and at the UN. Formerly assistant professor of music at State University of New York, Geneseo, and assistant conductor of the Metropolitan Opera, he directs the Long Island Composers Archive and the Metropolitan Philharmonic Chorus. Dr. Lehrman is laureate conductor of the Jewish Music Theatre of Berlin, music director of Melbourne Community Presbyterian Church, and editor of Opera Today. His song cycle, The Bourgeois Poet, which we're going to hear shortly, was his 1971 BA honours thesis at Harvard. Well, tonight's program is presented in two halves. An Australian Odyssey will occupy the whole second half. This is a song cycle of 18 contemporary Australian poems, which Leonard Lehrman has chosen and set to music. And they'll be sung by Helene Williams with the composer at the piano. You'll hear more about the genesis of this work straight after interval. But before that, several things will happen. To open, Helene and Leonard will present the first 5 songs from The Bourgeois Poet, a cycle of 8 songs composed by Leonard to poetry by the late American poet Carl Shapiro. After that, 6 of the poets represented in An Australian Odyssey will read their own poems from the cycle, as well as some of the poems by poets unable to be present because they live interstate or because they're no longer alive. Finally, in this first half, Helene and Leonard will perform a setting of one of the Odyssey poems by another American composer, Gordon Brisker, followed by the closing song from the Bourgeois Poet cycle. This program is being recorded, and we would ask you not to applaud between the songs. I'd also like to point out that Helene had a small accident shortly before leaving New York. The interesting boot she's wearing on her right foot is not part of the performance. Please welcome Helene Williams and Leonard Lehrman.